This works.
Yes, here we go.
Yeah, you got it?
Hi,
Are we
Tarkan.
recording?
We
Hi,
are.
Agnes. All right. Welcome, everyone. I told you there was going to be a surprise this week, and here she is. There's the surprise. We've been spending 10 minutes trying to figure out how Zoom works again. So it's been a while. So
Good to
Agnes,
see you.
welcome. Yes, good to see you as well. How are you?
I'm good. Good. And happy to be chatting to you again after quite a while.
It's been a while. I think a year. Has it been a year? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything anymore. It seems like I'm, just surfing through so many different realities
Yeah.
that I feel disoriented at times. And I think a lot
Yes.
of people out there are feeling rather disoriented. We've been discussing this a little bit.
Yeah.
In terms of, so I wanted to actually, why don't you kick this off? Because you said, just ask me some questions. What do you think about everything that's going on in a manifesting law of attraction kind of framework, I guess we could say?
Well, I do think, as we said before we started recording, the difference versus individual manifesting and the collective consciousness of people around the world manifesting. So what we've got is the collective consciousness for where we are at right now. And that is something that is so exciting to know that we can change if it's not to the liking. As you said, a lot of people are struggling within the current global circumstances because of restrictions and quarantine and all this stuff. But there's a whole other lot of people that I know and have talked to, friends and people that I work with, that are actually really enjoying the pulling in, the really looking at what you're spending your time on, especially with the end of 2020 and then hopping into 2021. It's really looking at, where am I going to spend my time and where am I going to use the time to then reinvest in my own self? What's that going to be? And for a lot of people, it's taking better care of themselves mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. So it's like, you see, when I'm working with people, it's so interesting. You see the people that are getting fit, the people that are really looking after themselves, the people that are really soaking up doing meditation, affirmations. And then there's those that have gone and put on a lot of weight and are really tired because they're staying up late drinking because they're stressed out.
So watching the news.
Watching news. So there's kind of people have gone like that.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I think there's something to be said about this idea of change. And sometimes, this brings me back and reminds me of something that I heard a while back, and I don't remember who said it, but it has to do with the idea of, you want to manifest a new job, a new career. Suddenly you lose the job you have. Suddenly everything seems to dismantle itself in your environment, in your physical reality, and you freak out. You go, what happened? I was manifesting something better. Now I don't have a job. I don't have a career. I don't know what's going on. But sometimes things have to deconstruct themselves in order to reconstruct themselves more according to your vision and what you were shooting for, I think, right? And I think sometimes people get stuck on that sort of trajectory. They go, oh, everything has just fallen apart in my life. And so this must be nonsense, or I don't know what to do next. But it's like, well, stick to your original vision. What was the original vision? What's going away? So like you said, a lot of people, I think, are either freaking out or they're using this time to reassess and to get back in touch with what it is they really want to be doing, where they really want to be. I think with work as well, that's probably a thing. We work from home, right? You and I. This is a thing I wanted to do a long time ago, right? Work from home. That sounds amazing. Of course, during lockdown, all I wanted to do was go outside. I just realized, well, I don't want to do any of this right now. I want to go walk in the park. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be nice, right? So I think there's something to be said about this being an important time for people to really get together and understand, really assess and write down what it is, what direction do they want to take things, because this isn't going to last forever. So, what comes post lockdown, post pandemic, for you? What is it you learn about yourself during this period of time? So,
For sure. I mean, I
and
know,
also,
Tarkan, the one of the greatest things that I've really identified last year, that there were certain things that I was spending time doing that I used to enjoy and got a lot of pleasure out of, but I no longer did. And
hmm
then I thought, okay, I need to reassess this. And the biggest one for me was social media. I
hmm
had been a obviously high user when, Facebook and all that first came out, because it was all new and fun. But over the years, I became a less frequent user, down to about, I would say, maybe 10 hours a month.
yeah,
And
okay.
then I started, I was watching Netflix, and I watched two documentaries, The Social Dilemma and The Great Hack. And
hmm
when I watched that, I thought, this goes so against my values as a human being.
hmm
I don't even want to use this for business, because I wasn't
yeah,
really using it for personal. So I've removed myself off all social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and I'm going to remove myself from Pinterest in the next few days. So I will
hmm
have zero social media, and I have regained 120 hours a year, because I
hmm
was a low user. And, I'm not trying to convert anybody. This is for me.
yes,
I understand liking social media for periods of time, because I used to enjoy it. I don't enjoy it anymore. I don't want to do it. It's really
no,
that simple. And I much rather, at the moment I'm doing a course, and I'm re-looking at using my time,
hmm
because I think I got to a point where I hit a pocket of being a bit bored. And
hmm
I thought, okay, I'm doing meditation, which I love. I'm walking in the park, I love. I'm doing,
yeah,
my creative business, which I love. But it was doing the social media aspect.
hmm
I just thought, I don't want to do this. It's really that simple. Do you want to do it or not?
yeah,
And I thought, I don't need reassurance for people. I don't want reassurance for people. I work on
hmm
that within my own self. And this is a change I'm going to make, because I want to do something that I really get inspired about. So, I'm doing a wonderful course right now. I've just finished another course that I did by Michael Singer, which was fabulous. The guy that
okay,
wrote The Surrender Experiment and The Untethered Soul. It was a little 8-part course that he did. It was fantastic. I've watched it 3 times in 2020, because I really
hmm
enjoyed it. And I thought, right, I'm going to do another course, and I'm starting in 2021. So I've started something else to do with a business stuff, that the mechanics of how certain things work. And
yeah,
I feel re-inspired again. And it's that thing of, really looking at, what am I doing, and what am I not enjoying? Because I used to have a life where there was nothing I didn't enjoy, and then all of a sudden a few things started creeping in that I was doing. I thought, hang on, this is draining my energy. And that's how I know I'm not in the right place. My energy is
yeah,
like, oh, I feel tired. And it's like, okay, you're tired because you're doing certain things that are doing that to you.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you're upgrading. That's what you're doing. Whereas
Yeah.
maybe before you were maintaining, right?
Yeah.
There's something about maintaining where you
Yeah.
turn into a stump after a while. I compare it to a tree stump. If there's no new growth, then
Yeah.
sometimes I think the universe, we call it that, or the life kind of smacks you upside the head and goes, hey, listen, it's time to
Yeah.
upgrade right now.
Yeah.
And you're not going to do it on your own. We see that. No, we're not forcing you to do it, but there has to come a point where what's changing, basically you have to sort of give yourself a little kick in the butt,
Yep.
or it's a tough love aspect to it,
Yep.
because it's sort of like, hey, we know where you've been trying to go. We understand what you've been desiring for so long,
Yep.
but you're stuck in this resistance, this looking at this little box, looking at all the things around you and
Mm.
afraid to take the next step. And sometimes I
Yeah.
think for a lot of people, this has been sort of, stay inside, do your thing, but think about it, meditate more, think about what you've been doing, where you want to go
Yeah.
next.
Yeah.
I think about this in terms too, and I've said this because this is the relationship between your individual manifestations and sort of mass manifestations, because
Yep.
if we look at this in terms of just everybody is kind of having their personal experience in this universe, but also we are co-creating. So we're plugging into themes that
Mm,
somehow correspond to our biggest fears, our biggest resistance that we have around any given subject, right? So I asked myself, how did I switch into a timeline where this stuff was happening? I mean, I didn't understand. Even as a coach and a video guy, I asked myself that question too. How did I end up here? Right?
mm,
What happened? Um, I
yeah,
remember thinking about pandemics and diseases and masks and everything. But when I look at how it has affected me on an individual basis, I can absolutely see the relationship between this larger theme happening and
mm,
my individual fears that I had been running in the background. So for instance, it was been a struggle to come here to Germany and see my family and my mother. But I had been entertaining a fear about that for a long time. What if
yeah,
I can't go over there someday? What if I get stuck here? And freedom is a big theme for me as well.
yeah,
And so, as somebody who loves his freedom, I think most of all, and his
yeah,
independence most of all,
yeah.
I also had a fear that I was running in the background that would be taken away, that I had to
Mm,
defend that to some degree. And suddenly you plug into this thing where all of those themes are highlighted for me, right? For
mm,
some people, it might be money, it might be their job, it might be their health, right? Their relationships. So I think if you ask yourself, well, what are my biggest fears around certain themes in my life, then you can see how those plug into the bigger picture of this mass kind of event, right?
yeah, for
Because it's
sure.
different for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it is about fears and it is
Yeah.
about it's about yeah, being restricted and not having freedom, and about
Hmm.
fears. And yeah, the collection of people's individual fears, I think, definitely influences, it's like when you
Yeah.
throw the pebble and then it ripples out. It's like
It
this has
ripples.
been a ripple effect for a while. And
Yeah.
I there's so many good things that have come out of this pandemic. Honestly,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just see so many wonderful things that have come out of. Yes, I'm not going to deny people have died, people have lost loved ones. I'm not talking about
Sure.
those type of things because that's real and that's your life. And when that's happening to you, you don't see the good in it. But there have been so many, it's like a two-sided coin. There's so many wonderful things. I've seen people create amazing things, um, connections with people, and really valuing those connections. Whereas I think we did on some level around the globe take
Mm.
people for granted because, oh, I can see
Hmm.
them anytime.
Yeah.
And also for us that travel, we can travel anytime. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been in London now for, well, since June, so I'm going into 6 months now. I don't normally stay anywhere for more than three,
Hmm.
but really, it's like it's not. I'm not seeing it as a restriction. I'm seeing it as, okay, I'm going to be here for longer, and I've got more time with my partner, and I'm going to be in winter, which I never am. So I'm going to be learning again to ignite recipes of cooking stews and
Yes.
those sort of things. So it's like I haven't had that experience for a while. So
Yeah.
it's like, well, let's look at the good bits of this. Let's look at the wonderful things that I'm having to deviate. But it's like when you see the river running and then it hits the rock.
Yes.
It's like it can,
Rapids. You've got the
yeah,
rapids. Yeah.
it
Turbulence
can,
coming.
yeah. And the thing
Yeah.
is, I've achieved a lot of stuff because I was I was having to stay in one place.
Hmm.
I finished an ebook. The website's done. I've managed to practice fasting more easily because when I'm traveling, it's difficult to fast and then click into another time zone. Then I don't have the food I want. So it's like, hey, I've been able to consistently fast and improve my digestion, and I've got my little weight bench here, which I don't have in Australia. So I've been more consistent with my exercise, and I feel stronger. So it's like there's been this continuity has been that has kind of risen out of the ashes because of being in one place. So yeah, I'm looking at all these positives, and it's very much I think for a lot of people that I've spoken to and been around, 2020 was a year of looking at old things and completion. The word
Yes.
completion is very much the word. I look at stuff that my mum was finishing off with moving and different things, and in
Oh,
my own life and in my partner's life. There has been a lot of completion of study, completion of projects, completion of creative things that had been started, and stop, start, stop, start. It was a real great year for completion because we had more time because we weren't socializing.
yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Going back to the way you were looking at it, right? Seeing the positive aspects. I mean, this is pretty much manifesting in a nutshell, isn't it? I mean, we're manifesting the things that we don't like so much as well. But how do we gain more control over the manifesting process? That's what really we're always talking about here,
It
isn't it?
is.
So I think to every situation in your life, there's 50% bad and 50% awesome about it, right? So it
Yeah.
really is a choice in the end to go, well, okay, this sucks, right? I
Yeah.
don't like this part.
Mm.
This, seems to constrict me. It's giving me agita. It's giving me, whatever it is, stomach
Yeah.
ache. This over here, on the other hand, what if I just lean into this? It's about
Mm.
leaning in, right? And I think that you were talking about turbulence. I've been traveling since I was a kid and flying. I'm used to flying and packing, and like you,
Yeah.
I travel about every 3 to 4 months, and I
Yeah.
stay here 2 months and there 2 months. Now I was forced to stay in one place all year round.
Yeah.
But and it on the one hand, it caused me consternation, right? I didn't like it. I don't like
Yeah.
my freedom. I don't like to be told I can't go somewhere. And I get to that, and my girlfriend's like, just relax. She knows I'm kind of a little bit of a bull about that. I
Yeah.
go into battle mode, right?
Yes.
And but it deepened our relationship. It deepened my relationship to the place in which I live.
Yeah.
Not just the city in which I live, but the state. It's so beautiful. She knew all the hiking trails. She's a nature bug. And, the sun was shining. Let's go there. Let's go here. Let's take day trips. Let's grab the dog,
Yeah.
and just having that piece of part of me envied people a little bit that did have a place that was just, that's where they stayed all the time. They didn't
Yeah.
travel. Their mom is here and their brother is there, and they have to,
Yes.
where do I feel at home, and
I
being torn all the
know.
time. So
Yeah.
I got to taste that a little bit, but I still want to try. I'm glad I'm here and I want to keep doing that.
Yeah.
But turbulence, going back to that for a minute, because I got off track a little bit. I used to love turbulence in an airplane when I was a kid. I used to love it. It was fun. It was like being on a roller coaster ride. As I got older, I noticed I'm getting a little bit more those butterflies, and I'm white knuckling a little bit, and I don't like it as much anymore.
Yeah.
What is it about that? I think as we get older, we develop more fears, right?
Yeah.
Um, but recently flying over here, I thought, well, let's play with this a little bit, because I used to play with it, right? I used to see it as a game. Oh, the turbulence, right?
Yeah.
And so it got to the point I'm white knuckling a little bit, and I go, can I reconnect with that older part of me, that younger part of me, that is still there, I think, on some level, that saw all this as fun and playful, that sees
Yeah.
the turbulence as just what it is, a game, which is what
Yeah.
this is, right? And I think maybe you're right. There's a completion involved, but there's also a reconnecting with that younger part of us, that more playful nature that is our nature, essentially, as human
Yeah.
beings, no matter what age we are, I think, right?
Yeah.
So being playful with the turbulence and the rapids, seeing it as a
Yeah.
sport, maybe a bit
Mm.
of a blood sport, I don't know, but I think that's something that situations like this can really teach us to
Mm.
get in touch with that part of it, and to see everything not so seriously, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of, yes, you're right, people have lost lives and loved ones, but in the end, when we look at the bigger picture, this whole life thing is just, aren't we just here playing? We're just here to have some fun, to
Yeah.
create, and yes, to even feel a little bit, ooh, I feel a little weird about this, right?
Yeah.
Why do we watch scary movies and action movies? We like that thrill a little bit, don't
Yeah. Yeah.
we? Yeah.
That's true. It's true. It's if you watched a movie with someone who had a really peaceful life.
Yes, right. Well, in the end, nobody ever says,
Ah.
there's that, I'm going to retire and sit on the beach and sip cocktails for the rest of my life. Nobody wants to do that. You do that for about a week, and then you start thinking of some project. I don't want to keep
Yeah.
doing this. I love
Yeah.
this beach, yes, but there's got to be something else. We're
Uh,
supposed to grow and move. I think human beings are
yeah.
not supposed to sit still and do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, creating's fun. I mean, I think that's one of the
Yes.
greatest parts of living is what can I create? And, for me, it's even what can I create that would give people relief?
Mm.
That's
Yes,
often where
relief.
my head goes because I know I've given myself a lot of relief
Yeah.
over the years, and I do feel mentally calm, and I do feel secure, and I do feel loved, and that. But did I always feel like that? Hell no. I spent decades scratching around going, how do I get there? So
Yeah.
it does
Yeah.
take however long, and for me it was a long time. It was about 30 years. So I just wasn't good at it because I didn't know where to look. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was looking on the outside for things that I had no idea you had to develop from within. So it just, but like you say, we're here and it's a game, and you're here for as long as you're here, and it's like I just think, okay, how can I make this as fun as I can? And there's lots of fun things that I do during the day, and my partner makes me laugh a lot to the point where I have to lay down on the bed because sometimes he just makes me laugh. Like
I
I
love it.
honestly, I get so limp from laughing. I got nothing left. When you just laugh so
Yeah.
much,
Oh yeah.
you're
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
I've been doing that with my mom. We've been telling stories of the old days, this family that have passed
Yeah.
on, but just remembering, she keeps telling me about her father, my grandfather. He was a funny guy. I knew him as a kid. He passed when I was about 12, but she tells stories of her childhood now that maybe she hadn't thought about in a long time. And and then I laugh with her because of just
Yeah.
the humor she had in a small house of 9 children. And
Wow.
very Catholic family on that side. But at a time when things were not that great, it was post-war, everything
Yeah.
was bombed out. There wasn't a lot of food, there wasn't a lot
Yeah.
of stuff to go around, but they had this sort of unity and this kind of this thing going on, this tribe going on. And I've been telling people a lot, find your tribe again, go back to your tribe. Don't worry so much about the larger, what's happening on a national or international level, because there was a time for most of human existence when we didn't know any of that stuff. We
Yeah.
didn't know what was happening in Indonesia, or even 3 villages over from wherever
Yeah.
we were living and grew up our whole lives. This is a new phenomenon for us to
Yeah.
know what's happening globally. We know what's happening in Senegal and in Argentina and in South Australia and in Europe 24/7, right? And yes, I think maybe we think of ourselves more as a collective that way, but I also want to stress to people to go back to like you said, the people we haven't seen in a while. When you take that for granted, now you can't see them. You can't go down to the pub and see your buddies, or
Yeah.
you're in London, so that's a thing where I'm from as well.
Yeah.
Working from home, a lot of my friends were down at the pub, or down at the coffee shop, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I haven't seen so many people in so long now. I don't even know what they're up to,
Yeah.
right? What's going on? A lot of them have left social media as well,
Yeah.
and so who is still around you? Who are you still able to connect with? And I think go there, right?
Yeah.
Connect with those people, because there's something there. You're supposed to be there right now, I think.
Yeah.
Whoever it is, your parents, your roommates, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your husband, your wife, whatever it is, your children, be with them right now. Kind of hunker down, and don't worry so much about, because I think if you take care of this individually, that will take care of itself,
Yeah.
right? It's always moving from the inside out, not from the outside in.
Yeah.
That's so much of what we struggle with. We seem to struggle with. If I can just have this change, if I can have this picture change, then I can change and be happier.
Yeah.
And find that relief that you talked about. But it doesn't work that way, does it? It works the other way around, right? So when you found relief, you found it first, and then the situations that were a match to that relief came into your awareness. They were always there, broadcasting, but you weren't tuned into the station, right? So how do people do that now, in your view, Agnes, with the situation that's going on right now? How can people tune into what it is? I mean, it's the same as before, but I don't know. Take it away.
I agree with you. I think it is exactly the same as before.
Yeah.
I do think I do think there's a little bit of a downside with all this manifesting stuff.
Mm.
It's that people are always chasing the next thing and
Yes.
chasing the next bright, shiny object. Now, what I can see 30 years on is I find in my own life, okay, yes, there are certain things I'm creating and I know where I'm heading with that. And, and then yes, traveling and different things. So, but that I just keep that's kind of a natural, normal thought process that I have about living now. But I think when you're constantly looking to manifest something on the outside, you will get to a point once you've done it for a period of time, whether it's a year or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, you realize I'm always chasing because I'm dissatisfied.
Yeah,
And
that's what it is.
you're constantly using Neville's teachings to get the job you want, get more money, attract the relationship, get that specific person to be in your life the way you want them to be. So you're constantly molding through all the techniques, the external.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, what that tells you about you is I want stuff I haven't got and I need that so I know if I get that, I'll feel better. That's why you put so much effort into the manifestation techniques.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm not happy with where I am right now.
Because I'm not happy with where I am, and
Yeah.
I know I'd feel better if I had that. But the thing is, it's you will realize one day you'll wake up and go, it's an unquenchable thirst.
Yes, yes.
And I will always be dissatisfied, and I will always be suffering on some level without the thing I want, and doing all this manifestation stuff. And then one day it dawns on you that although manifesting and all that's all well and good, that even that's not the Holy Grail.
Yes.
The being fully immersed in having a rich and fulfilled day.
Yes.
That is the jewel that so many don't see because you're so geared on getting over there to where that thing is, whatever that thing is for now. And I can tell you, I don't spend a lot of time these days. I don't really revise things because I'm okay with how things are.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're at peace, you attract a lot less stuff anyway, negative stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you spend less time revising, you spend more time enjoying, which means then you don't spend as much time trying to manifest something else over there.
Mm-hmm.
And you really, it's like you grow roots and sink into the day. And
You're
then
present.
You're so, I mean, Eckhart Tolle wrote that whole book about the power of now. It's like you're living in the day, and you know what? The day, it's enough.
Yes,
and that's
absolutely
it.
is. Yeah, yeah.
I spend very little time these days imagining desired things. I spend a lot more time going, okay, what am I going to allocate my 24 hours to? I do spend about 8 hours sleeping. I love that. I enjoy sleep. That's really good.
Sleep is wonderful.
It's so good. And to me, my biggest goal when I was, when I had not enough time, not enough love, not enough money, I wanted to wake up without an alarm clock. That was my only goal. I just want to wake up without hearing that.
Yeah. So whenever you want to wake up, that's when you wake up. Whenever you become aware. No alarm clock. Yeah.
No alarm clock. I probably use an alarm clock maybe 3 times a year, and it's maybe to get to the airport.
Yes.
Or if someone's desperate for a coaching session and our time zones are difficult, I'll go, you know what? I'll set the alarm, but it'll only be an hour earlier than what I do. So I normally wake at about 9:30, 10 a.m. because I'm a night owl. So
that's a good time to wake up.
It's lovely. Oh my God. So good. So it's like I always book people in after 10 a.m. So it's like I can't give the best of me at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. I can't even think at that time. I'm hopeless and I know that. So it's not a time that So waking up without an alarm clock to me felt like I'd arrived. That was it for me.
Right.
No boss, not having to be anywhere, and not hearing that, because that would instantly put this green sludge over my day.
Yes. Yes. You and I are not so different.
No.
Right? I don't want a boss either. That's why I'm doing this.
I don't want
I
a
mean,
boss.
I don't want a boss. I don't want to be my own boss, because that's still having a boss, right? That's still me going,
Yeah.
come on, wake up. You got to do something, or I got the policeman and I got the boss drilled into my brain.
Yeah.
But, like you said, it's true. It's a bit like being a shopaholic, isn't it? All this desiring stuff and revising and manifesting, because I can go, if I'm feeling empty about something in my life, spend $1,000 on some shiny things.
Yeah.
And then they end up in the corner because the novelty of it wore off. Right?
Yeah.
And I find that so much of this stuff we try to manifest, especially when we first discover this kind of manifest. Oh, I can manifest this and I can have that. And they're sort of the shiny objects, because we're still chasing that we're still trying to stuff that hole, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of times people are terrified of being okay with what they have and where they are, because that might mean, I don't know, what might that mean, right? There's a fear of thinking too much about one's situation, or thinking too much about oneself, or doing too much digging into oneself, because it seems frightening what's in there to people.
Yeah.
Right? So we would rather project all of that stuff outward onto other people, onto things and objects and situations and circumstances. But in the end, you find that there's no monster there, right? You can face yourself easily. And when you do, it's like, poof, it's fine. I don't have to push for this. I don't have to chase that around. I can just be right now. We can just be Agnes and Tarkan speaking. We can just be drinking a cup of tea, or taking a walk, or, chatting with a friend. I mean, these things are it's just taking it moment by moment by moment, because in the end, there is only the present moment, really, right? There's no past, there's no future. It's always right now, and we always miss what right now is, right? So yes, on some level, maybe subconsciously, all of us collectively decided we need to stop doing this nonsense, and so let's just stop. Let's take it, let's grind to a halt.
Yeah, do that sound again.
Yeah. It's not annoying. Yeah, no.
No, I like that. That was really. It sounded exactly like it too.
Yeah, I'm imagining sparks flying.
Right? Yeah,
it's kind of how 2020 felt. It felt like sparks, right? Just. This is a terrible story. I used to know a gentleman many years ago. He was a lot older than I. He used to fly for the Royal Air Force.
Yeah.
And, this is a little bit of an aside, but he said, when we were training, we used to like to mess with people, over England. At night, they would find like a train, like a passenger train or something, and they would just dive down and fly at level with it with their lights off towards it. And just at the last minute, they would turn their lights on and shoot up, and they would watch the sparks flying from the train hitting the brakes, right? That's just the conductor freaking out probably down there. So I'm imagining this is a little bit like what 2020 has been for a lot of people. This almost, let's just stop for a minute and let's think about things, because where the hell are we going, right? And so, I mean, honestly, going back to what you said about not wanting a boss, not wanting these things, you're going to attract situations, circumstances, and people that have similar ideas as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, my girlfriend, this is kind of a way, we knew each other for a long time until we started dating, and you're kind of into the same thing. She loved that I was doing something independent, and she's a landscape designer. She started her own business, and so she doesn't want a boss, right? She doesn't like to wake up early. She doesn't like to have a schedule or that kind of structure, but she loves getting creative. She loves doing what she loves to do. And so, isn't it amazing? I tell people, listen, you're chasing something. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear this, especially the specific person crowd that says, but I need it to be them. I need it to be that person. And sometimes in my videos, I'll say, listen, it could be somebody else. Open yourself up to that, right? Because you think you want something so badly because you've put an idea on that person or on that thing. And yes, you can have that person, but like you said earlier, you'll manifest that person sometimes and you'll realize they're not a match to who I am now, or who I've become. It's just not. And I get that a lot from people. They go, wait a minute. So I've been focusing on them. I've been doing this. And then suddenly somebody else pops into my head, or somebody else pops into my life, or an old flame that I forgot about, or somebody completely different, right?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to go with this person? And I always say, listen, you got to know in the end who you want to go with, but how does it feel to you, right? Does it feel easy? Does it feel right? You know, does it feel like you guys have a similar theme? You're on a similar path in your life. So
yeah, actually, I got to tell you a good little story of meeting somebody.
Yeah.
I met a woman contacted me, and we had, you know, a couple of exchanges via email and stuff, and she said to me, yeah, I've seen in a few of your videos that you're in London and you talk about this organic market. I said, yeah. And she said, you mentioned this dumpling guy that sells dumplings. And she said, can I ask you, is it this particular market? And I said, London's enormous. It's huge.
Right. Yes, I've been there.
I mean,
I was there once. Yeah.
Heathrow Airport is the biggest airport in the world. It is a huge, huge place. It was the same market that she went to.
Huh.
So she was from, she's in London, but she was from Australia. So I said to her, if you see me at the market, you know, say hello and we can go for a coffee. So we went for a coffee, and we have been going to the same market for 6 years. I've been walking past her house every Sunday.
That's
and
crazy.
She's been a viewer on my channel. And we both come from, I'm from France originally, but where I've been growing up for a long time. So we had so many things in common. It was unbelievable. And we've now become walking buddies, and we,
wow. Yes.
She's had me over for lunch and for dinner when we weren't under lockdown. And we've now developed a friendship purely because we have so much in common. And it happened, like you're saying, some things just click. There's no effort. There's no trying to do it. There's no look. I wasn't looking for a new friend. I wasn't going, I'm going to set my intention for someone that lives nearby. When I'm in London, I actually spend a lot of time alone because a lot of my friends are in Australia. And when I get to Australia, I work a lot less because I'm socializing. So when I'm here, I see my partner, and I see, I've got one or two people I see not that often, you know, and that's it. So it was just this amazing, like you're saying, when things are just easy and they flow and it just happens and it unravels, there's a real beauty in letting the fruit ripen on the tree. And I wasn't looking to create that. That just came in. And you know, and this person and I are very like-minded. We like very similar things. We have very similar lifestyles. We eat a lot of the same kind of food. It was like we had so many things in common, and we're in the same age group. So it was just this thing that it was like a lovely unfolding with no effort.
Well, that's being in receiver mode, isn't it? That's being rather than asking mode.
Yeah.
That's the thing people ask about. Yeah, because if you're asking, you're thinking there's something missing, and maybe the solution, the person has always been right there. You've been walking past her house the whole time.
I know.
You've been eating at the same dumpling place the whole time.
Yeah, we had the same dumpling guy.
Yeah, you weren't able to perceive of them, right? Or you're not even on my radar. That's kind of a thing. A radar, your signal, her signal, whatever it was, right? Maybe you were sort of not asking for a friend, but not, off doing something else, doing your work and traveling and all that stuff. And that's interesting. And
it's so amazing this is what sorry to Tarkan to interrupt you.
Oh, no, that's fine.
This is more, instead of deliberate manifesting these days with, I'm going to visualize, imagine, do this stuff. I don't do any of that stuff much anymore. What I do is I go, okay, I'm just going to really, from morning till bedtime, have the most fantastic day with meditation.
Yes.
I'll do some yoga. I'll go for a walk. I'll do my work. I'll do my little weights. I'll watch a movie. You know what? I'm tired. Let me have a sleep at 4 o'clock in the afternoon because I like staying up till 2 in the morning. And you go, oh, that was a really satisfying day. And my whole aim is I cultivate and fertilize and marinate satisfaction. That's
Yes.
how I build the day. And then stuff like what happened with this lovely woman that is now a friend of mine, the manifesting has it comes in things that you go, wow, I could never have thought of that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, because your mind, your mind, I rag on the mind, a lot, but the mind has its purpose, right? But the analytical mind, we use it way too much. And I think the idea of like, listen, just saying, I'm getting up in the morning, universe, you know what I want. You know what I
Yeah.
want. I don't need to keep asking for it. You know what I want. So show it to me today. And that's it, right? And not even getting specific about it.
Yeah.
This person, and I want that place and that thing, but just show me what I want. Right?
Mm.
And I've been asking for so long. I don't need to ask anymore, right? Show me what I want, and I will
Yeah.
be open to it. I will receive it, and then that's what happens. These wonderful surprises happen where you go, well, I never realized that was a possibility. I never realized that person was even there, right?
Yeah.
Because the idea is that we create these situations the moment we imagine them, the moment we have a desire,
Yeah.
they exist, right? Like
Yeah.
one radio station is always broadcasting, and
Mm.
whether we're tuned into it or not, it's constantly broadcasting, right? All we got to do is do that, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
doing that is sort of like moving from, stop asking for a while and just start receiving, right?
I know. That's a
Yeah.
really, I'm glad that's really well described. I hadn't put it into words, but yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
right. Your whole signal is I'm satisfied and I'm just here receiving. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Wow, I didn't
Yeah.
think of that.
All
And
right.
I've got something happening now that I can't talk about yet because
Okay.
I don't talk about things that haven't hatched yet. But I've got
Top secret.
something really amazing happening that I can't even wrap my head around how it's even happening. And I will share it at some point on a YouTube, but
Okay.
it's again like me meeting this woman that I just described. It came out of totally, absolutely nowhere. And
Yeah.
it wasn't even something I was again asking the universe for or trying. All I was doing was living my satisfied life. That's all I'm
Right.
doing. And I'm playing around with this, just being satisfied and really enjoying and being present and because I mean, when you're your own boss, you go, okay, I'm doing something on the computer. I go, oh, okay, I've had enough of this now.
Yeah.
Guess what? You can stop, and because it's
Yes.
you're your own boss. So and then you give somebody an hour of your time or whatever, but it's like I'm really looking at when my energy is starting to decline. I go, right, stop, and then I build it back up, and then it's
Yeah.
going down a bit, so I don't have these big crashes, which is where I think all the negative manifestation occurs, because you've let
Sure.
the energy crash and burn below 60% and gone down to zero, and then you're
Hmm.
emotionally disturbed, you're physically depleted, and that's you not managing yourself properly. And I think I'm really someone that was guilty of that for many years, because I ended up with
Oh.
glandular fever, I tore my hamstring, I injured my back. Like I've had so many big warning signs that I didn't need to
Yeah.
really go to that level of suffering for, because I didn't manage myself properly. So now my whole thing is managing my time and my energy and my focus, and really looking at only doing stuff I love. And
Mm.
it's like all this stuff is fertilizing things that I didn't even know could come to fruition.
The seeds were there the whole time, right? Yeah.
So once that happens, I'll share it. But yeah,
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
But that's
so
that's
just
amazing. Yeah.
yeah,
The mind has such limited perspective. That's what I was going to say, because you have your monkey mind, you have your universal mind. You were plugged into it, that
yeah,
larger perspective. There are infinite ways to get you to that place you want to be. And that place you want to
yeah,
be is always a state of being. It's always a feeling
mhm,
that you're after. In this
yeah,
case, peace, harmony,
yeah,
being relaxed,
yeah,
being in the flow, right?
yeah.
That's what you want to find. So,
Mm. and making your bed so neatly that it looks fabulous on screen.
That's years of training by a German mother.
Well, you know what? I think a German mother that's trained you to make a bed like that. I mean, you know what? The one thing I cannot look at, because I'm in a flat and it's quite small in London, because it's, it's spaces are
They're
tight
tiny, aren't they?
and expensive. Yeah, London's really
Yes.
expensive. So I've got half the space that I've got like when I go to Sydney. So I can see my bed more regularly because the space is smaller. So I do not want to walk past a bed that's unmade. That's visually disturbing. So I make sure I make my bed, but yeah.
Well, I used to rebel against that when I was a teenager, and I said, I'll never be that obsessed. And then we were laughing about this the other day. I said, Mom, when I'm at home now, you did such a good job. I can't stand not to make my bed in the morning. I mean, it actually physically hurts me to not do it. I keep looking at it, right?
Yeah.
But this is actually, we're kind of in the country here a little bit. I'm outside of a city.
Yeah.
But it's very peaceful here. There's woods here, there's fields and everything. But
lovely.
My mom has 2 apartments, and she used to rent one when my stepdad was still alive. She doesn't want to sleep up here anymore since he passed. But I've kind of taken it over. So this is actually a living room.
Yeah,
that you're seeing me in. But I've turned it into my bedroom because I like to live like a prince. So I've got
like the pitched roof. It's lovely.
Yeah, that's a balcony. So that's a door that goes out to the balcony. So
lovely.
I'm actually top floor, right under the roof. That German style.
Nice
pitched roof thing. Yeah, so
beautiful.
It's nice here. Yeah,
lovely.
It's very nice. I can smell the cow dung coming on. There's cows back there and everything. So
I love being in the country. I grew up on Vancouver Island and in a small village in France. So cities are not my norm.
Yeah.
But I'm comfortable. I do like the city living and I like the country living. I need both to really coexist.
I do love both. I think where I live now has a good mix of that. I've got it in Portland, Oregon. It's like a small, big city, small, big town, big city kind of thing. Yeah. But it's getting, I'm starting to get an itch for it. Maybe I want to be a little bit more somewhere more secluded.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a big property. That might be the thing that I'm going to focus on next. So big ranch or something. So
sounds good. Sounds good.
If
I could live anywhere, it'd be in the desert. I love the
desert.
I love green and nature and beach and all that, but I get that in Sydney and in London. There's huge trees and everything here. But yeah, I love that red earth and the bright blue sky and 100-degree heat and humidity.
So that Arizona kind of desert, or that New Mexico kind of desert, right? The American Southwest kind of desert. No, I like it. Nevada, I've taken camping trips out there. I never thought I'd like the desert, but if you've slept in the desert in a sleeping bag under that sky, the stars,
I know.
I don't know if I've had a more peaceful sleep than just, it's like an IMAX theater,
It is. It really, the original IMAX.
Just feel yourself floating away into that night sky. It's amazing. Yeah.
I know.
So, and it gets cold at night though.
It does.
Freezing.
Yeah. Well,
Anya, speaking to you is almost like a coaching session because, you just make me feel comfortable and relaxed, and you're such a wonderful person and have such a great energy and such great ideas and experience and wisdom. So thank you. I think we're going to wrap it up at this point because I need a bathroom break as well. So
go for it. Bye everyone. We'll see you as we always do.
Thanks for joining us. And do you want to talk about your program real quick? You're going to post this on your thing, right?
Yeah. No.
Anyway,
I'm not a huge promoter. People can look in the description if they want to find stuff.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Tarkan, we say bye in private for a sec.